What's up, everybody? And today we reacted to How Would the United States Fight a Nuclear War? This is by Modern Muscle. I will leave a link down below to the original video. Please go over there, give it a like and subscribe and all that good stuff. While you're down there, you can give my video a like. I think these videos are really interesting. I try to give as much of my perspective as I possibly can in these videos, from both a military background and a traveling background, because you have to remember, I am living in the UK. I am a British citizen. I was in the British Royal Marines Commandos and I grew up here. But I am also an American citizen because I spent the last 9 years living in the United States. I've got my glasses. I don't need my glasses on. I was reading something earlier. I spent 9 years living in the United States, and the first 5 years of that was spent in Maine. And the last 2 years of that, sorry, the first 7 years was spent in Maine. The last 2 years of that was spent in a school bus traveling the whole country. We went everywhere. So I have a good perspective on both countries. And I have a good perspective. I have a different perspective of the United States than a lot of people because I'm an outsider that has traveled it whilst also being an American. There's nothing more American than an immigrant, right? And with my military background, I want to watch this video and kind of have a bit of a think about it and have a bit of a discussion with you guys. So get ready in the comment section to have a good old chinwag with me. And we'll watch this. We'll have some fun. And I watched Oppenheimer the other day. So I've got a lot of nuclear stuff happening around me right now because I watched that. Now I'm watching this. Yeah, I think it's a coincidence, but I just like the fact that I chose this, I think, because I was subconsciously influenced by that fantastic film. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. I'm talking way too much. Let's watch this, shall we?
It's been over 80 years since a major conflict has broken out in Europe. The result has left many with a deep sense of uncertainty. Nearly 70% of Americans surveyed by the American Psychological Association feared that we are at the beginning stages of World War III. The
70%, that's a lot of people. World War III, I'm not too sure about, possibly. I don't think it starts with Russia and Ukraine. I think it's more about China and a few other things going on. And I do think, personally, that if the United States was ever going to be in trouble, because it's not going to be in trouble, but if it ever was in trouble, it would be from the inside and not out.
Prospective nuclear conflict, once unthinkable, is now a very real possibility. Today, we're going to explore the unthinkable. How would the United States respond during a nuclear conflict? What's America's nuclear war plan? How many nuclear weapons are readily available to the president? Where are they? What are their targets? How many missiles would be launched? How many casualties could we expect after American bombs reach their destinations?
A shit
ton. What would the world look like going forward? And most importantly, could the United States win a global nuclear war?
Okay, let's do a prediction before we get into this. Does the United States win a nuclear war? I think it does. I think it does, mostly out of tactics and aggression. At the same time, nobody wins a nuclear war, technically. Everybody loses, so we'll see. America's nuclear triad.
The United States operates under a nuclear triad, consisting of land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBMs, sea-based submarines armed with submarine-launched ballistic missiles, or SLBMs, and air-based strategic bombers, carrying gravity bombs and air-launched nuclear cruise missiles. Now let's take a look at each part of America's triad and its weapon delivery systems.
Okay.
The first and most well-known part of America's nuclear triad is its land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBMs. The U.S.
I think a lot of these would get shot out the air if they were being shot at a major country, like China or Russia or the United States. They'd probably get shot out the air.
Has 400 LGM-30 Minuteman III ICBMs that are launched via
400.
silos.
Is this like Kerbal Space Program that they've able to do
These
this
400 missiles have a range of over 6,000 miles and have near pinpoint accuracy. When launched, the 3 Strays Minuteman III travels at speeds of over 15,000 miles per hour, reaching its target in under 30 minutes. Each Minuteman III missile carries 1 warhead. 200 Minuteman III missiles are armed with a 335 kiloton W-87 Mark 21A warhead, while the other half are armed with a 300 kiloton W-78 Mark 12 warhead. Each warhead has around 40 times the destructive power of the bombs dropped on Japan in 1945.
That's crazy.
America's Minuteman III silos are based in 3 rural areas: the 90th Missile Wing at F.E. Warren Air Base in Colorado, Nebraska, and Wyoming, the 91st Missile Wing at Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota, and the 341st Missile Wing at Maelstrom Air Force Base in Montana.
That's a lot of missiles. And they're all in the center of the country pretty much, which is very interesting considering, I mean, they can at this point, it doesn't really matter, does it? You can go kind of anywhere with them.
Each wing has 3 squadrons, and each squadron has 50 Minuteman III silos. They're collectively controlled by 5 hardened underground control launch centers, each operated with 2 military officers around the clock at all times. In the event that launch command centers are destroyed in a surprise attack, or the military officers inhabiting the launch command control centers get cold feet, these missiles can and will be remotely launched from an airborne command center, carrying out orders from the president. As with all things, there are advantages and disadvantages of the silo-based Minuteman III. Its primary advantage...
I just want to preface this with, this is what we know, right? This is what we know the United States has caught, because I guarantee there is a lot more stuff we don't know that they have, right? And that ranges from all sorts of different things, whether it's missiles and intelligence or satellites or anything like that. There's a plethora of things we have no idea about. That's not even getting into the UFOs that apparently recovered, which we're not going to get into that, but if you want me to, let me know in the comments. So yeah, there's a lot more stuff we don't know about, and just understand that.
Is that these 400 missiles make the most responsive leg of the nuclear triad. America's land-based ICBM force has remained on continuous around-the-clock 24/7 alert since 1959. They can be quickly launched in less than 5 minutes. America's silo-based ICBMs offer a strategic advantage as well. Due to their remote launch capability, an effective nuclear attack against America's Minuteman III silos will require at least 400 warheads, or 1 bomb aimed at each silo, forcing the enemy to use and deplete a considerable amount of their nuclear arsenal. But this strategic advantage also highlights the Minuteman III's disadvantages. America's land-based Minuteman IIIs are inherently vulnerable, as their location is commonly known, and therefore silos can and will be easily targeted.
But again, we don't know what else they've got, right? This is what everyone knows we have, right? Imagine what's in the mountains of Colorado that we don't know about.
As a result, in the event of a large-scale attack, the president would be put in a sticky situation. He or she would have to either use these 400 missiles or lose them, forcing a large-scale retaliatory attack in response to perceived incoming warheads targeting American silos. With enemy missiles already in flight, the leader of the free world would only have 15 minutes to decide. And once a missile is launched, there's no turning back.
Yeah. Let's look at the bombers.
The second arm of America's nuclear triad is its air-based strategic bombers. The U.S. Air Force currently operates a fleet of 66 strategic bombers. America's strategic bombers are organized into 9 bomb squadrons and 5 bomb wings at 3 bases: Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota, Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana, and Whitman Air Force Base in...
I wonder what the range is on these aircrafts. Like, how far do they actually go?
Missouri. There are 300 nuclear weapons currently deployed at strategic bomber bases in the U.S. An additional 100 tactical nuclear bombs are deployed at NATO air bases in Europe. America's bomber fleet consists of 46 B-52 Stratofortress bombers and 20 B-2 stealth bombers. The B-2 stealth bomber can carry up to 16 1,200 kiloton nuclear gravity bombs.
Holy, I did not know that. Up to 16. One of them aircrafts can carry up to 16. Holy shit.
Each gravity bomb contains a massive payload of 150 times the destructive power of the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The B-52 Stratofortress bomber is a long-range heavy bomber with the ability to travel up to 9,000 miles without refueling. The B-52 carries up to 20 AGM-86 subsonic air-launched cruise missiles. When launched, the AGM-86 missile can travel over 1,500 miles at speeds...
Oh my god! That's actually nuts.
Exceeding 555 miles per hour, using its independent guidance system to deliver a W-80 150 kiloton warhead to its target in less than 90 seconds. Each warhead contains around 20 times the destructive power of the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The primary advantage of using air-based strategic bombers is that they can be called back if necessary. Furthermore, subsonic air-launched nuclear cruise missiles are a lot harder to defend against. When launched, an enemy force would have to counterattack each missile individually, making defense costly and complicated. The small size also makes them difficult to detect on radar.
That's
The primary
terrifying.
disadvantage of strategic bombers is their response time. They take a lot longer to get in the air, and if air bases aren't on high alert, or if planes aren't already in flight, there's a high probability of them being destroyed in an initial surprise attack. This is particularly true for bomber bases located in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to, well, I haven't been to a US base in Europe actually, but I have been to a US base elsewhere. It makes me wonder what the security is like there. I remember the security. I was in the one in Bahrain, the US base in Bahrain, and the security was tight. It was really tight. So it makes me wonder how relaxed it is in a NATO country. You know what I mean? If you've been to a NATO US base, as in a US base within, you know, Europe in NATO, please let me know. No, Manchester. That'd be scary, wouldn't it? Please don't show me this. This is terrifying. That's terrifying.
The last and most important part of America's nuclear triad are its nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines.
Yep.
The U.S. Navy operates a fleet of 14 Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines.
14's
Each
quite a lot.
submarine carries 20 Trident II submarine-launched ballistic missiles.
That's a lot.
The Trident II SOBM is the most destructive weapon in America's nuclear arsenal. Each missile is armed with either 4 or 5 475 kiloton W-88 warheads. In theory, each sub can launch its entire 20-missile payload virtually undetected in under 7 minutes.
Whoa, holy. That's terrifying.
When
to say the
launched, the
least.
three-stage Trident II travels at speeds of over 18,000 miles per hour, has a range of over 7,500 miles, and typically reaches its target or targets in around 15 minutes. Each warhead is guided by a multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle, or MIRV,
Okay.
allowing a single Trident II missile to deliver up to 5 warheads to 5 separate targets. Just one Trident II missile alone, armed with 5 warheads, has 154 times the destructive power of the bomb dropped on Hiroshima.
Oh my
Overall,
days,
the U.S.
that's
has around
nuts.
70% of all of its warheads on submarines, and with good reason.
That's nuts.
There are numerous advantages of the ballistic missile submarine. For starters, they make up the most survivable leg of the nuclear triad. Ballistic missile submarines are virtually undetectable at sea. Their stealth design makes finding one an almost impossible task, giving pause to potential adversaries. With at least 10 submarines on constant patrol at all times, ballistic missile submarines assure that the U.S. can strike at any time, anywhere, even after a surprise attack. With each sub carrying an average of 100 warheads each, they have enough firepower to make just one submarine the 6th most powerful nuclear power in the world.
That is crazy. Absolutely crazy.
In terms of disadvantages, there simply are none.
That's actually crazy.
When people imagine a nuclear war, the first thing that comes to mind is large cities like Los Angeles and Moscow being incinerated in a blaze of nuclear hellfire. While this would definitely be a likely
That wouldn't be the major target, though, let's be honest.
the outcome, the reality is that around 70% of the 1,800 nuclear warheads currently deployed by the United States aren't aimed at large cities, but instead at an enemy country's nuclear forces. To better understand this, we first need to take a look at America's current Strategic Nuclear War Plan, also known as the Single Integrated Operational Plan, or SIOP. First drawn up in 1950, the SIOP focused primarily on the Soviet Union. While today most of the weapons in the war plan still target Russia, other countries such as China, North Korea, India, and Pakistan are included as well. In this video, we'll take a look at a nuclear exchange with the only nuclear power comparable to the United States, the Russian Federation.
It makes me wonder, though, so with Russia, we know that they have struggled with their equipment fighting Ukraine. right? They don't have as good of equipment as we expected them to have. So what does that show for their nuclear weapons as well? Do you know what I mean?
This portion of America's nuclear war plan is called Major Attack Option 1. Major Attack Option 1 is the most demanding attack option available to the president. Should the Commander-in-Chief order Major Attack Option 1, the resulting attack would consist of over 1,000 warheads, targeting Russian nuclear forces, including ICBM silos, road-mobile ICBMs, submarine bases, primary airfields, nuclear storage facilities, design and production complexes, critical command and control facilities, and civilian population centers. Now let's take a look at Major Attack Option 1, its Russian targets, the American nuclear weapons used, and the overall outcome of an American thermonuclear attack on Russia.
That's crazy. Oh my god, did you see the amount coming down then? Holy. What a great video. If you want me to react to the second one, if it's out, which my presumption is it is, let me know by commenting down below. It's actually nuts, the amount of firepower they have. And obviously very scary as well. Yeah. Let's just hope for everyone's sake, because no one wins a nuclear war. Let's just hope for everyone's sake that we never ever get to that point, ever. Fingers crossed, because it's terrifying. There'll be a link down below to the original video. Please like my video, please like their video, and let me know what you see next in the comment section down below. Other than that, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.